H2K, Kindred, Tom Kench, Morgana, Rapid Fire, Lulu, GP away from OG.
Kindred Tom seems to be an opening on blue side for so many teams right now. They ban out the Morgana, maybe they know Mithy practiced it, looked at his solo queue, or they just saw last game, hey, maybe it impacts our pick and ban strategy. Lulu LeBlanc seems to be the bans of choice on purple side. What's left? There's a Ryze, there's a Lissandra, but I don't think either team will value it very high up yesterday. Poppy, Trundle, not really ban worthy, but just power picks. Fiora is maybe a power pick. Zed ban now.
Alright, so that's a bit of a surprise. Ryu not really favoring that Zed super recently. LeBlanc is available, and with Poppy up and Morgana banned, Poppy's locked in.
I was talking to Mithy, it's like, how's your Poppy? He's like, it's not there yet. I need to play against a good Poppy to learn. Well, maybe if they lose right now, they get the opportunity to learn. That's something.
That's next level preparation.
Think ahead.
Think ahead, plan ahead, plan for playoffs.
You know, I was just play to improve, not for elo.
Well, H2K with that Poppy, we are expecting it in Vander's hands, especially with the Morgana ban. But it is a flex. We've actually seen it top lane in China. Not a big fan of it, but it is a thing that could happen.
Yeah, that Morgana ban makes even more sense, just like you said with that Poppy first pick, just denying the Black Shield. Remember, Rek'Sai's tunnel, if Amazing does choose to lock this in, gets blocked by Poppy.
So do Origen play it safe and go for a Lucian here as the reveal nothing, get a great ADC that fits every comp, and it looks to be the case.
Unless you want to kind of play an inferior laner and play Ezreal, or play a safer laner, not to say inferior, and have a blink that doesn't get cancelled. Lucian dash obviously gets interrupted. It just doesn't get his counters as hard as, say, a Kalista does. So securing one of the top tier picks here with that Lucian can be a good thing.
You just caught a glimpse there of Amazing. He's firing away information. Last second swap to the Elise.
Just telling you, I have 4 abilities in Spider form, I have 4 more, I have a Flash and a Smite, I can use them all.
Crepo, you're a smart guy, but that's not what they're talking about.
Probably not.
No, not at this time. For H2K, Jankos, very serious look on his face. Where did they go now? ADC would be the safe one.
I mean, Forgiven played Corki yesterday, which doesn't have the poke and siege and zone control. They may go for Misfortune Poppy too if they just want raw laning power and then group up and siege. You have to remember, yesterday H2K won with a very macro-heavy playstyle. They didn't really go for any duels unless necessary. So
didn't need to. They got so many towers and so much control. Big smiles on the H2K faces. Showing himself not feeling the pressure right now.
Like, I will show him how to play this.
Well, got the Poppy on their side, so
no blocker.
The mobility counter's not there. Ryu with the Lissandra. Again, flex pick. Could go top, could go middle. Options here for H2K. I feel like it's likely top. Could go either.
Yeah, we've seen Lissandra mostly top because she can really make use of the long lane. Just gap close with the claw. Aggressive jungler like Lee Sin can even dash to Lissandra after she uses her gap closer. Pretty potent combo. I love Lee Sin in this meta. I think he's one of the strongest junglers if Kindred's off the table. So we really want to see what Jankos can do with it in the early game.
Jankos is definitely a guy who has consistently been one of the best junglers. 117 yesterday. Played Graves. Another aggressive, in-your-face champion, but this is a very different kettle of fish.
Yeah, preemptive pickup against the potential misfortune here with the Braum. Because H2K, if you add an MF to that equation, have a very destructive team fight on their hands. So getting something to deny bullet time without actually having to interrupt the misfortune in the Braum shield could be an answer.
So there we go, locked in with the Ryze. Soaz or PowerOfEvil. Yesterday was the Oriana last pick for PowerOfEvil. It did not pay off against Fnatic. Once we see what H2K round out, they will have the option again to counter pick.
Very little wave clear though. This is the same trap that Fnatic fell into. I mean, look at it. Only the culling is reliable wave clear. Otherwise, Ryze will have to use ultimate and walk up against this roster. It only takes one flash ultimate from whoever plays that Lissandra to lock him down and just instantly burst him. So OG will need to stay even in the early game, else they will get the same fate of H2K's yesterday's opponent.
Well, wave clear. Oriana makes wave clear. If they want to go that way.
It's so passive though.
It is. So H2K, Corki or Misfortune, that seems to be what we're leaning towards here. They want to go for Tower Pusher. Tristana could do well as well. But an abundance of magic damage with a lock-in of both LeBlanc and Corki. So it helps some itemization.
Very early to mid-game focus here by H2K. They want to close out this game quickly. Very poor late game. If you can get Ryze to the late game here with the protection of a Braum and you get some Aegis aura up, it's going to be incredibly hard for H2K to then still win team fights because they're looking for picks with LeBlanc, for picks with Lissandra. Corki just starts pushing his waves, sieging, getting that level 6 power spike. H2K want to play quick.
Ticking time bomb. For Origen, do they pick something else that scales and
too much scaling
dare H2K, or do they go for something earlier? If this is mid lane, what do they put in here? Mid or top?
Definitely need wave clear, so you can't go for like a Kassadin LeBlanc matchup. Oh.
So, no wave clear.
Yeah, I don't know, man. If it works, it's brilliant. If it fails, it's predictively stupid, you know?
So, what has to happen for Origen to make this team comp work?
So, PoE needs to show that he plays the matchup incredibly well, for one. We need Amazing to gank and likely assist. And somehow, Forgiven needs to be kept in check because otherwise he can just roam mid and just start sieging that tower. If any of these early towers go down or it ends up in the lane swap, I think H2K will get the advantage by opening up the map and then grouping up and for sieges. I mean, look at the answer for sieges by OG. It's literally hard engage. That's it. And there's very few target hard engages. Only flash snare or a cocoon landing kind of facilitates that.
So H2K, lane swap could lead them to victory. I've never heard or said that before.
Yeah.
And let's see if they can get their hands on the matchups they're looking for.
I mean, they can just lane too, by all means. Maybe just lane swap accelerates that early game and just allows them to rotate and make picks all over the place on a big open map. But
well, we're about to find out as H2K take on Origen.
Every player is talented and every player is smart.
I think H2K is gonna probably be one of the top 3.
Let's hope they have a bad day, but I think it will be a really hard game.
I'm just gonna be happy like performing the way we used to because that's already a good level.
이번 연대는 작년에는 우승을 못했어요 여기서. 그래서 이번 연대는 이 연대에서 우승을 하는 게 좋고요.
It's just tough to play against them.
They can be the top 3, yeah? They can be 3rd place, maybe.
Strong words all round. The banners are lit as H2K and Origen take to the rift. Let's see Jankos saying maybe they'll have a bad day. Ryu, his goal was to win LCS last split. That did not work out.
you know what the most sad changes was in 5.24?
Tell me.
Players can't forget their trinket anymore. You automatically get a trinket when you walk out of base, so you don't see who's nervous. As a caster, it was a good indication of a player about to choke if he forgot to buy his trinket. Now you just get one for free.
Now we'll have to figure it out by watching gameplay. Level 1 pressure from H2K. Shove their way in. Oh, almost. Origen not quick enough to get that ward. So let's see. Is this an indication that H2K are looking for the lane swap, or are they just playing for the information?
I stopped guessing.
Yep.
I mean, looking at the matchup, Poppy Corki versus Lucian. Generally, when you judge 2v2s in the bot lane, you check who has double ranged. Well, they both have one ranged, one melee. They both have good early traders. Lucian Braum is pretty strong at trading and can play around Poppy decently well. So I imagine Forgiven and Vander would like to swap. But then we need to look at the top lanes. I'm not well versed enough into Lissandra versus Ryze. It just seems that Lissandra could AFK push. And lane swapping on a Ryze seems worth more. Delaying the Ryze, the price you pay for that in your Lissandra, I think is worth paying because she still offers good utility in teamfights, unlimited items. So H2K getting the lane swap off is probably beneficial for them.
When H2K did this yesterday, really just set the stage against Giants, where they built up a lead that was simply impossible to come back from. The last pick here from Origen was this Kassadin into LeBlanc. We were expecting wave clear.
Yep.
It did not opt into it. As you can see, the tower pressure will come from both squads. But let's talk about this Kassadin pick, because it's going to make or break this game for Origen.
Yeah, Kassadin into LeBlanc in an isolated matchup is all about every time she walks up, you gotta Q her. If you see a Kassadin start last hitting with his Q, he's likely to lose the matchup. Maybe not now, but more so 2 minutes from now. You always have to trade your Q, otherwise you get this, you get harassed. Luckily, the tower shot equates that. But if you greed for a CS now, you will pay the price later once you're out of sustain and you get frozen.
2 charges on that corrupting potion for PowerOfEvil. Already down in CS as we expect, and we'll see how little he does. We can see that Amazing still in the jungle. Jankos invading Actually, to steal that red buff as well.
Yeah, it's the same. They divide the map up in two. They isolate the junglers a little quicker. No long double jungle because obviously experience is more beneficial for junglers because they have the item generating them more experience from camps. We saw Odoamne get help to level 2 by the double jungle. Then he passes into the lane, steals as much experience as he can. Push the tower as quickly as you can because you want the wave to bounce back. And H2K take the lead in the lane swap. Odoamne is the first one to get the experience. Now you have to watch, do they bounce the wave back immediately or do they freeze? Generally, if you want to keep your top laner ahead, he wants to freeze for 1 or 2 waves and then push out immediately.
A few seconds the difference here between OG and H2K.
Oh wow.
Sven, the last one. Giving that over to Sven. PoE will eat one of those chains. Actually going to share that one. Soaz comes back. So let's see how the lane shakes back out.
Look at the difference. Soaz, because they're so slow, has to walk back and respect the potential enemies coming in here. He's already setting himself behind. Whereas Odoamne froze for 1 wave, now pushes in. Yes, that will force Soaz, or will give Soaz a free wave in the top lane, but then Odoamne gets opened up as a resource. So we need to see what he does once this wave pushes out. But it's slowly. He's taking his time. So hopefully Ryze gets spotted in the bot lane right now. Once he gets that information, he can push out because he knows the 2v0 lane from Zven and Mithy are coming top. He can't deal with them, so he just wants to fast push top lane right now. It's all information. The second you know you'll be 1v2, you kind of want to push as quick as you can because you will get denied of this wave.
So pushing it as quickly as he could. Now all of a sudden Odoamne
Didn't really do it.
being forced into a position. Not quick enough, Crepo.
He could have ideally, in an ideal scenario, obviously if he worked with perfect information, which is incredibly hard, he could have pushed that for 1 or 2 more waves and then backed out. Then went bot and they could have dove Ryze, for example. And then what would Soaz do except for cry? Look at him. He's level 2 right now. He's getting zoned by a support who's out-leveling him. So H2K yet again playing the better macro game. Yes, Odoamne could have maybe pushed a little more, but that's nitpicking. Overall, H2K in the lead.
And we've seen when Origen fall behind with Soaz, how difficult it is for them to bounce back. Mithy's the only member on the Rift at the moment not running Thunderlords, not the Bond of Stone. And Origen, despite some pressure on this top tower, keep a close eye on the CS difference. Soaz is down 10, PowerOfEvil's down roughly 20.
Yeah, he's paying the price right now from just not playing the matchup, maybe not well enough, or just really being better.
Does have a gigantic wave.
Yeah, but how's he going to get it? How much of
Find
that
out.
going to pick up?
That's going to be the challenge, isn't it?
A lot, it seems, because Ryu backs off.
Decent enough. No additional pressure from Ryu. He's going to get that corrupting potion up. He's replying to the back that PowerOfEvil has already put in. PowerOfEvil working towards that catalyst.
But look at Soaz. He's playing Dora the Explorer almost. Level 2. He dropped the pink ward. He's walking top to a lane. Is that going to bounce? I don't even know. I need to check. That wave is neutral. Slowly going to push up back to him. But the second anybody shows up, he'll have to walk away from that wave again. And he's playing catch up right now. Odoamne is already level 4.
So this is somewhat what we expected, looking at the team compositions in terms of how the early game could play out, and the fact that Soaz and PoE are running double teleports.
Yeah, luckily for him, there's a ward in the lane. That's always the counter ward you want to have. Like, about 2 screens down from Soaz in the top lane, at where the tower remains are. That's where you want that ward to make sure you don't really get ganged up on. But already, look, Soaz is already backing off. He can't even farm. He's so afraid right now. Limited vision in this patch too. And he's getting denied so much while H2K, Odoamne, he's playing as if nobody's there.
Yep.
Because, well, nobody is there.
There's no threat for Odoamne right now.
He doesn't care.
Farming himself up, continuing to grow his advantage. I think some props to PoE. He did keep that gap relatively close. But now the wave is pushing towards Ryu, so that can again extend it. And I think these first teleport plays are going to be so telling for Origen.
Teleport plays to counter the siege. And the things to watch for H2K is level 6 power spike from Corki. And then by proxy the Triforce power spike, and see what Ryu can accomplish in terms of picks. And once Odoamne gets level 6, you add that teleport into the equation. Remember, H2K are playing an incredibly early oriented team composition. Origen, see if they can get greedy because they're in that rush. Nope. The bait from Soaz.
Here we go forward at the overload. Down bottom, PowerOfEvil, level 6 to Odo's level 5. Rift Walk is going to go in.
Doesn't get the auto attack reset.
Yeah. Not enough burst, and Odo's able to walk away. In the middle lane, Jankos and Vander say, well, we can play the same game. Origen are now forced to defend. Remember, no wave clear, really. Zven doesn't even have access to his ultimate, and Forgiven's got a level advantage.
Yeah, because Soaz is playing catch-up, he's freezing the wave in the top lane, or slowly farming at best. Zven is stuck with limited wave clear and relic stacks. That forces PowerOfEvil to go back to the mid lane. That gives Odoamne breathing room. So it's a trickle-down effect. Top lane to mid lane to bot lane.
Zven's going to dash forward. And now PowerOfEvil's made his way back into this middle lane. There's no real fight potential unless they invade very heavily. Vander's using that passive to get the shield bounce back and forth. But past 8 minutes, Forgiven's going to have the option to pick up the package, give them even more options at fast pushing a tower or creating a scenario that's favorable.
Yeah, this is not yet the point of power where H2K thrive. They definitely need their ultis available to make those plays. Soaz right now is playing catch-up. QE pushing that wave into Odo. Jankos is constantly at the side where the action is, whereas Amazing, due to the way his game's playing out, he's kind of farming around Soaz, but there's no action there. So
there's
kind
not.
of dead man.
PowerOfEvil, he's stuck around way too far.
flash.
Rift walk into instant flash. Jankos connects with the Sonic Wave, continues to chase. Red buff is up, but the Rift walk means PowerOfEvil can continue to run away. We'll take a glimpse in the middle lane as the unbreakable wall will keep Zven alive for a few seconds longer. PowerOfEvil got the Rift walk back, gets kicked backwards, and kill is secured by the First Blood King.
Yeah, this is exactly what we were talking about. H2K have an early game composition and they're playing the map 4 against 5 because due to the way the early macro played out, Soaz is playing on an island in the top lane right now and OG is crumbling yet again under pressure.
Falling further and further behind. Soaz is going to push this wave forward. Somebody from H2K will catch gigantic, juicy wave of gold. But luckily Soaz has evened out that CS, does have enough for the catalyst. Shortly, instead going to go tier and get the Ruby Crystal as well. So, you know, they're playing for the long game, but Origen, they can't afford to keep losing this if they actually want to make it to late game.
Yeah, good chase by Jankos too on that kill. Gotta commend him there. Landed every single Q and with the red buff, eventually PowerOfEvil's ultimate just got too expensive. Couldn't jump out anymore. Ryu did something tricky there. He got one spell blocked by the Braum shield, tried to flash behind Mithy. Chain Niels there. Niels ended up using both summoners, so did Ryu. So aggressive play.
Origen will get themselves a dragon, which is at least something when you consider the amount of pressure and the fact they're playing in the back foot. But do they lose position on this mid turret? It doesn't look like.
Just the cost of that play is that they give H2K triple lane setup. We'll need to see if it pays off though. Package is available.
Forgiven's going to use it on Amazing. I think he's coming down the river. Is going to land on Amazing's head. Amazing jumps to Vander before flashing over the wall. Vander follows suit. There's a knockup from the wall from Mithy. Now Mithy's in trouble. He flashes defensively. The Ignite takes down Soaz. And it's Vander that gets a kill. Odoamne, he teleports. No, he ran in. He goes down as Zven is dropped. It gets messy at the end.
Good two by Mithy.
Has not had enough yet. Ryu's looking around the side. Ryu may want to dash in. Distortion, there's about half of a mana bot available, and PowerOfEvil can make his way out. H2K trade kills, and they get a tower as well.
So there's a lot to say about that entire exchange. One, from a macro point of view, Origen's time they spent taking the dragon gave H2K triple lane setup that led to that play. Then looking at the play itself, a couple of nice things there. Mithy juking out that last kick. Jankos trying to set up the pinball kick, really good. Vander flashy was good, but missed the wall, kinda. But then the AoE effect from a level 7 Lissandra, you could definitely see the strengths and weaknesses and what goes well and what went wrong in that exchange. But overall, because the macro made sense for H2K, regardless if the play went super well, medium well, they still get a tower.
Medium well's my favorite well. H2K are going to look for
rare.
more.
I prefer medium rare, man.
Amazing's going to try get away. Vander does not find the stun against the wall, gets the hammer shock slow. Soaz will luckily be able to get away from that. Vander just millimeters from finding another kill for H2K.
Yep. PowerOfEvil trying to catch up, but every time they push out the lane and they want to get that last extra wave, they're already called back on wave clear duty because the remaining parts of the map can't play 4v5, and that's the strength of this H2K pressure and early game composition.
And a limited wave clear from Origen, despite the fact they'll have numbers. It's basically going to be on Zven's culling. Now Ryu, he could get jumped in. Look at this, teleport coming down from Origen. Ryu is the target, he does not have flash. He's going to distort forward. The clone comes out, and PowerOfEvil gets booted away. Vander saving Ryu's life.
We need Gandalf Poppy. You shall not pass.
I love that ability. It just looks phenomenal.
Yeah, I thought he was a goner, but he just walked straight into the help of Poppy ultimate. And that's a tilter as well. Like, if you don't get a kill because you miss a skill shot, maybe, if you just get knocked away by a giant Poppy hammer, that will upset you.
Well, we heard in the feature from PowerOfEvil, even if he plays bad, I think Pekka will forgive him. This was at IEM, so a long time ago. Maybe he's not allowed to play bad anymore. We'll have to get an update on that question. But he's got that rod completed, finally. Still down 20 CS.
And that was one of the answers, though, the teleport play. That's what you do if you get sieged upon. It's a hard engage, it's a flank, it's a teleport from behind. Again, just like split push, you need to stop it before it's happening, because once everything's in motion, whatever move you make leaves you with a weak flank. If you go top, they take the bottom tower. If you go too late, they already get the damage on the tower. You won't get much, so you gotta nip it in the bud. Very hard. Failed attempt there for OG.
And that's a problem, because OG are continuing to fall further behind. So now it's going to be up to Soaz. He doesn't even have a single item completed yet. He's sitting around 800 gold, so he's going to work his way up.
H2K is playing on a timer, though. There's still plenty of time. I think this competition kind of runs out of steam if the game's even at maybe like 28, 30 minutes. So most games have ended at like 25, 26 minutes. So in terms of a timing perspective, they're fine. Yeah. All depends on the Baron that they will eventually need to get to close out the game.
How difficult it's going to be for OG to actually face check a Corki, LeBlanc, Lissandra.
Next package will be big too from Forgiven. Can always generate plays.
And it used it very effectively on Amazing earlier in the match.
Quick Shot is smiling because I said that Forgiven's package was big. It's a little inappropriate.
It didn't need to be repeated. But yes, I became a child for a few seconds again. H2K are grouping up in the middle lane, Crepo, clearing out any of the wards that Origen had placed. And there's the culling. This is the wave clear to at least towards some of the momentum. With those wards down, it also limits the flanking potential for Soaz.
Yeah, see, H2K they don't care if the siege fails, because right now all they need to do is wait for those massive waves to push in, pick up the goal, and do it again. Does cost them some time, but meanwhile they're always contesting something. A siege, farm, a blue buff right now. So they're constantly proactively doing something on the map. OG have been reacting pretty much since minute 1.
Let's see how H2K respond. They've cleared out almost all the vision in this bottom half of the map just until OG push back in. But OG have got a decent line of wards in the top half. So H2K will have to invest some pinks or sweepers if they pick them up.
Yeah. Just need to keep the waves pushing. Sometimes it's hard to 1v1 efficiently this early in the game because there's always one guy that wants to base. Even though you tell him you don't need the item, he'll be like, yes I do. I need more AP. Even though I don't play against an opponent, I still need more AP.
Gotta spend that gold.
Gotta spend that gold. And then your 1v1 kind of falls apart because you need continuous pressure. The main reason why, because if one part gets engaged upon, you need to capitalize on the other side of the map.
Well, the power difference between Zven and Forgiven is monumental. Trinity Force plus Sork Shoes versus just the Essence Reaper. PowerOfEvil is going to get challenged here by Ryu. Actually, trades back and forth. Ryu will chain him down. He comes out relatively even, and the package is up for Forgiven. So next time he backs, sitting on around 800 gold.
Yeah,
Get another item and move around quickly.
They really need to break up on one of these tier 1 towers. Generally by pushing. There's a split push where you push and siege every lane, or you push all lanes and then collapse in the mid lane. That used to be H2K's favorite strategy. Origen are setting up to get a lot stronger in the team fights though. They're not looking to collapse themselves.
No, not yet. Teleport is still available for Soaz. The tower is dropped. Amazing's retreating, and Soaz is TPing onto a minion line. Odoamne has gone low, and there's a boot away, but it's only on Mithy. It may not matter. They've got a kill onto Odoamne, and OG want more. The king of chasing, PowerOfEvil with Riftwalk. Flash forward from Soaz. He prisons Vander in place. PowerOfEvil's looking to get the kill, and he will find it. Ryu jumps in from the flank and drops Soaz where he stands before he backs away safely, and OG, they get themselves some kills.
Yeah, and this is what we didn't see from H2K yesterday is it's the greed. They didn't have to go for that dive. They saw members in the top lane and the bottom lane, and they assumed they could cleanly take a dive 5v3. They didn't think about the exhaust that came out from Mithy and the teleport and just how quick PowerOfEvil could join that fight. Look at this point, disengage, and you're fine. But right now, Odo goes in, instant reaction teleport. This time, Soaz is finally teleporting. PowerOfEvil comes in, Vander tries to disengage, which is good. Pick up 1 kill, and then just keep your eyes on Ryu. Fantastic move here from Ryu and Jankos to actually even out this 1-for-1 trade. So OG read themselves a little bit trying to catch up because they get a support, but they lose Soaz.
Great positional play from Ryu.
Yup, fantastic combo there.
Manages to make it a 1 for 2, but Origen get the second dragon of the game. So something else again, just to keep them a little bit in there.
Yeah, more importantly, for H2K, they got the tier 1 tower mid, which means they can just push it a little farther and then rotate to one of these side towers. It's incredibly hard to open up the first tier 1 tower, but it's so much easier to get the second and the third because it just allows for rotations.
H2K got to be a little careful. Origen still got some defensive pinks. Actually got relatively deep river wards, considering how defensive they've been playing.
Yeah. Well, they just got the deep wards
For the
because
dragon.
H2K was based,
Yeah.
but they don't serve any purpose, you know. All they tell you is that there's nobody around the dragon pit. Well, yeah,
It's no dragon.
nice wards.
Blue trinkets only 2 on the side of Origen, 1 for H2K. See if they start deciding to change those. And for H2K,
There's a trend we've seen. Winning map teams don't need blue trinkets because they just want to leave invisible wards in the enemy jungle. So when the enemy walks out to contest an objective, so when you strike. Especially if like champions like Ryu here, or champions like LeBlanc here on Ryu.
Ryu gets a big chunk out of Soaz, who used his teleport in their last fight. PowerOfEvil has his available, which is why he's pushing down bottom. And Mithy, he's gunning with the Glacial Fissure. They've set their sights on Vander, and I think he will be sacrificial. But now H2K want to re-engage. Teleports come in from PowerOfEvil. Both supports are down. It's a 4-on-4, all damage. PowerOfEvil's got a full mana bot as well. He's going to get the pulse, but he gets locked down by the tomb and sent to the grave. Now H2K in a 4v3 are chasing Origen. Soaz got chunked out low early, and Sonic Wave missing means nothing more happens.
The same thing again. Origen react on a push, do something great, overchase, get turned on by the H2K. Really good turn there if I would want. More importantly, they get the tower again. Origen could have went back there and held. Soaz.
Oh, the chain just missed. 1 or 2 more auto attacks. Flash forward. Sonic Wave caught by Amazing. Jankos wanted that.
But this is a good adaptation from Origen. Yesterday, they weren't really doing anything until it was too late. This time, they engaged before the siege was set in motion. They still had the Lissandra mid. They went for the hardcore team fight right there. That's what they had to do. They found a pick, then they overchased. Look at Zven taking damage though.
Well, it's getting scarier and scarier. Wow, Ryu's not done. He's gone forward. Ignite is ticking, and I think Sven's going down. Ryu is trying to run away. The clone! The clone! Saving Ryu, I think. Not a lot of damage to follow up, but Ryu, he finds his man.
That's when your fingers just slightly hover over Alt F4. No, don't do it. Yeah, that just hurts.
Yeah,
Well played by Ryu.
exceptionally well played. 3-0-1 on that LeBlanc. As we've hit 20 minutes, 5,000 gold lead.
Yep.
And for Origen, both of their 2 big sort of keep me in this game mechanics of teleports have kind of failed.
Yeah, they failed. So they have 2 teleports available, one on a very long cooldown now. Second one from Soaz is about to come up. H2K have learned that Origen now is not afraid to pull the trigger, so they'll proceed with a little more caution. OG can use that to their advantage by kind of faking the engage too, in terms of mind games, but the raw power sits on the side of H2K. You've seen with such ease, or with what ease they can push up all these lanes. All it takes is the next step where they disappear and move into the Baron area, de-ward, and suddenly OG is set in front of an impossible decision. Do we face check? Are they doing it? What do we do?
Yeah.
Probably get caught, probably leave the Baron. H2K finish the game. That's the likely outcome right here. Unless they can find one opening somewhere.
Let's find out if H2K present any openings. They've grouped up in this bottom lane and going to be taking down the inhibitor turret. Engage over the side from Odoamne. He's rooted them in place. Self-cast on the tomb. Tower is still standing, and H2K want the dive. They've got themselves a kill onto Mithy, and there's a boot away onto Sven's culling. But H2K now the numbers advantage for the next 25 seconds. Look to re-siege this tower.
Yeah, look at PowerOfEvil. They have no wave clear. So if Origen stays, they want to fight. PowerOfEvil is the main force in this fight. Was
the main force.
no fight.
Ryu sent him packing, and H2K get a kill and a tower. So well executed.
Yeah, all these, and you see how quickly those tier 1 towers start falling off when the first one gets down. That's a little rough one. Look at Odoamne here. Nobody thinks he's actually going to proc that E there, but just instantly goes in with the tomb. And at that point, all the crowd control effects are being used defensively from Origen. And if they don't net a kill, it's over because H2K don't need their ultimates in the fight because they can always repeat the siege. Origen need them to lock them down and win the fight. That's the difference. You're playing siege versus engaged team fight.
Well, Origen, support staff backstage, Pekka and Hazel.
I mean, they're victims of their own draft right here. They played a risky game with double scaling mid and top in a meta that promotes early game aggression. We've seen games finish at 25, 26, 27 minutes. The earliest I can recall is maybe like from a decent close game is 34. Picking champions like Kassadin and Ryze at the same time is almost disrespectful.
Risky, and it has not worked so far. H2K pushed Origen all the way back to the inhibitor turrets. H2K will get their first taste of Dragon. That's going to be useful now, plus 6%.
This may actually prompt the return of Victor as a mid lane pick, just for the...
Did he get
well, not the return, okay.
Yeah.
The return to a higher tier pick just for the wave clear. It seems that a lot of these plays that these teams are making just get stopped by wave clear. Just point and click. And Nivea, she's too slow to rotate, but...
Hey, that was like the primary mid of All-Star.
Yeah, she scales pretty slowly though.
Yeah.
But yeah, Victor, maybe there's some instances where Lux is played, and she's also very conditional.
Saw her a couple times in LCK earlier this week.
Yep.
Same thing. Get those chili ghosts down.
Yeah, I think it was Fry.
And a light binding, but yeah, as it stands, H2K starting to re-siege. Forgiven, this big package flying up this middle lane. H2K sniffing around opportunities. Yeah. If they set up vision, they can set up a good Baron. Oh, they're not even going to need it. Odoamne gets caught by a good cocoon, but Amazing's in trouble. 3 members of each team fighting in this middle lane. The Fisher comes out, and Zven is stunned against the wall. Vander's found his man, and Forgiven sent him packing. That's a double kill. Jankos is continuing the chase. He's looking for Amazing. Follows the resonating strike. Odoamne flashes and roots him in place. 3 easy kills.
And that's the problem. Origen's carries are in the side lanes farming up, and they can't deal with the lack of vision in the mid lane. Odoamne comes out of the blue, even gets his E predicted with a cocoon, but there's no follow damage, no teleport from Soaz. He was just watching that play, so something is going wrong from Origen as a whole. Ryu, zone of PowerOfEvil. This will be Baron, likely push. The same scenario I've seen right now will just happen in double time. And a pause.
Well, H2K.
Why is my screen gray? Well, hate to break it to you, man. You got flying by Poppy. Why did my dash not work? Well, Poppy.
Well, that is the question. No, we will find out shortly why the pause has actually happened. But I think all praise to H2K. Yesterday, they played a calm, controlled, patient tower game. Today, somewhat the same with a few tower dives, but...
I like the difference in Corki on Forgiven. So usually when he was playing Corki in Gambit, it was because Gambit wanted to play, to my sense at least, around maybe Cabashard in the top lane, and it was just like a wave clear AD carry. You know what? You sit in your lane, go even, because it's really hard to, in that meta at least, outplay with Corki, because if any fight you do, you get teleported around. Here in H2K, he's like leading the split push. He's leading the siege at least. He's a sieging AD carry. He's supported by some really high damage burst mages. They have so much zone in their top and mid, so he can orchestrate and really weave in those auto attacks. We saw in that one mid lane fight that broke out where Vander flashed over the wall, just how smart he is as a player, because many Corkis there would have retreated. He went around, got a kill, Valkyrie'd out with a 600 range Valkyrie. Then Jankos came in for the support, so he seems very comfortable in this H2K framework.
Yeah, and the whole team does, really.
Yeah.
Every single member's strength seems to be shining. I have heard that it is a user interface problem on the side of Zven, as you can see. We've got some text there. Grayscale screen, not something he's used to seeing very often. But all jokes aside, we will get that resolved shortly. And with this Baron being picked up, yes, okay, Origen have 2 teleports, but they have to find H2K out of position. H2K have to make a mistake
in the setup
to now lose this game.
They have to make a mistake in a setup, something they haven't really done this entire game. There's been 2 instances where maybe they could have gotten caught and they still outplayed their way out of it, especially with Poppy ulti. It's rough.
It really, really is. We mentioned at the beginning of the show yesterday that H2K, when you look at some of the support stuff that they've picked up, Ispa, the former manager from Fnatic, he's joined the team. Prolly returns as coach. Obviously, all the players have changed. You know, they've come out the gate swinging. So, and they've sent a big message to the whole European LCS.
Yeah, I don't know the inner workings of H2K, so we're running on a tangent, running off of tangents here on just what we see. But it does seem that Prolly made H2K last year into a good macro team, and already right now, this team is playing a very, very good macro style game, even though they have members coming from Rocket with Jankos and Vander. They have Forgiven, who has cycled through many teams in the LCS and had to drastically change his playstyle overall. So it does seem that this has a probably feel to me, where you're like, nope, don't fight unless you have to.
Play the tower.
Get the tower. If you get the tower, then you get the fight. It's like
He
a bonus
was-
reward, you know?
He was bragging about how few kills H2K picked up in their win yesterday on Twitter, and it's one of those things that we talked about a lot. Like, was it the Sing that made H2K good in summer? And I guess we're gonna find
Baron goes down.
LT and H2K. Yeah, Baron is secured. No one's real surprise.
Wanted to play by play, but
You could. I think you could.
if I learn English, yeah.
Your
Anyways.
blunder's very good. But now we see how they set up and how they actually push with this Baron. Like you
Yep.
said, vision, make sure they cover their flanks.
So look for PowerOfEvil and Soaz to hide in the brush and catch a stranger or somebody that's left behind trying to push a wave. That's pretty much the only counterplay at this point. Even then, the jungle is literally wards. They're all basing right now, so which gives the map to H2K. All they need to do is push some lanes. Look at how spread out they are, though. Like Odoamne all the way in the top lane. This is where usually you would see teams just panic hide in the brush and hope that somebody paths by you and you get to engage them from behind. But if that fails at any point and you're spotted, the game's instantly over because you're not even wave clearing with your limited wave clear. So it's such a risky strategy.
Yeah, when you're this far down, everything's risky.
Yep.
No matter what you decide to do.
So they're not even going for 1-3-1. They're comfortable just playing 4-1 with Cabashard in the top lane, hoping that he can put the one-man pressure up, or they can just threaten the dive with teleport.
Yeah.
TP on a minion.
Doesn't matter. He can find his way into a fight if it's needed. But with the sizable lead they have and the team fight power of Poppy,
So they
hell,
got,
even a 4v5 can work.
they got amazing top. Odo went mid, so it's still a 4v4. The siege zone from Poppy as well. You can just remove the one instance of wave clear by threatening to use your ulti.
While tower has already gone down, Vander was swinging that hammer, but he did not find a target or anyone to land it on.
Look at the poke. That is what you want in this metagame. You want wave clear, and what is wave clear very often? It is good poke. OG can't even begin thinking about a fight right now. Odoamne is still in the mid lane, by the way. We don't even know what that tower is at. Probably half HP. There we go, half HP. That one's down. The base is in shambles, and Origen missed their chance to strike in the setup, and they're paying the price right now.
They really, really are. Death sentence on the hooks here for OG as Mithy is going to be jumping backwards. Does have that hammer available to him. We'll see if the verdict is a win for H2K. Inhibitor is now going to be the focus. The rest of the members grouping themselves up. And look at the minions in the top lane. The moment H2K take this inhibitor, they can peel away top. Ryu gets caught by a cocoon and Spin is burst up very, very low. Soaz flashes defensively, but H2K, Forgiven, is unstoppable. Mithy gets booted backwards by Jankos and delivered to the waiting hands of Ryu. PowerOfEvil is forced to run with the nether blade between his legs, unable to impact the fight. The Nexus turret will be going down shortly as the minions are conga lining their way in. Supers are chasing. Ryu, double dash dunk, finds a kill onto Sven. PowerOfEvil's trying to get away with the Rift Walk, and that's all he can do as a double kill for Ryu. It's not done yet. PowerOfEvil finds a double kill back before Forgiven shuts him down, and H2K go 2-0 in week 1.
Do you think that hurts? Running away with another blade?
Silencing the crowd.
Between your legs? That is the important question I have for this game.
Emphatic win.
Yeah. Now, beautifully played by H2K. I mean, it wasn't a making. The result, we can see this from pretty much 5, 10, even 15 minutes, all from composition, and more importantly, in execution. H2K drafted the composition, used it to play to their strengths, and yeah, they left very little options for Origen. That's what I usually like seeing when a team comes in with a strategy, and they remove almost every single instance of counterplay. They tell you everything you're going to do will be predictable or has to be so crazy, chaotic, random that you likely don't have the guts to do it on the LCS stage.
That was great to see. They're amazing and Forgiven.
Obviously
A bit of
played
a hug.
together on Copenhagen Wolves back in the day.
Long time ago now, actually.
Back
And
in my day.
6-0-8 for Forgiven's Corki. But really, it's a team victory. Everybody was in the right place at the right time, and for